One of the fundamental rules of design and modeling is that every edge should be either filleted or chamfered, because in the real world there are very few hard 90-degree edges like this when things are designed. They're either filleted or chamfered. And it's a good idea, and it's a good modeling habit, and a general rule is that good curves yield good models. And especially in Rhino, it's fundamental to have very good curves and if you want to have good models. And it's always better to handle and to create these fillets or chamfers at the curve level. It's easier and more convenient to do it now than to do it when they become solid. So let's talk about that. So we're going to start by zooming in to this top corner, okay? And we're going to type in the command fillet, okay? And you notice that you have fillet corners and fillet and fillet. Those are curves. Fillet edge and fillet surfaces are for when you're working with solid objects or surface objects. Okay, and so a fillet will give you a round edge. So let's invoke the command fillet. Now the first thing that it asks for is a select curve to fillet, but we want to establish the radius. And there are two distinct ways that we can go about establishing the radius. Okay, we click on this radius tab here, and if your ortho snap is turned off, you want to make sure you have an end snap, and you can click in the corner right here and drag this out, drag your cursor out like so to establish the radius that you want your fillet to have. And think of this as the diameter of a circle that's going to, as the radius of a circle that's going to go between these two surfaces. So I'm going to drag it out to this point. And right now I know that that says 0.026. So I'm going to, it's 0.026. That's the radius that it just established. And then it asks you to select the first curve that you want to fillet, select the second curve that you want to fillet, and there you go. You have that. Now, let's go back here again. And I'm going to right click to execute the command again. And this time I'm going to set the radius to 0.03. Okay. And then I'm going to select the first curve and select the second curve. And it will fillet that curve like so. Okay. Now, if I wanted to, I could go to another segment here, and let's see what happens when I do that here. I'm going to right click to repeat the command. I'm going to select this since it's already been established, and I get a really slight fillet here because the angle on this curve was not 90 degrees, but that's a really nice transition. I like that. It really softened that up, so I'm going to use that over here, that same fillet over here, and I'm going to right click to repeat the command, click on this curve, click on that curve, and you notice how it softens and blends the transition between those two curves. Now I could go in here because I have a hard edge there, and let's say I wanted to redo the command. I'm going to redo the fillet, and I'm going to pick a radius here between the two here, like that, and then I'm going to select this curve, select that curve, and I get a nice transition between those two. That's a much softer edge. Right click again, click on that curve since the value is already established, and I've got a nice smooth clean transition between those two. And now I'm going to come here on these interior edges. I want those to have a nice fillet. Another way that you can do your fillet, if you turn on your ortho tool right here and you right click and you click on your radius tab, I'm going to click here, and that restricts it to a line like so. And you can define the fillet distance like so, along a straight line, the radius along a straight line. So I'm going to click that right there. And then this is the first curve that I want to fillet. That's the second one, and I get a nice radius curve there. So with ortho turned off, you want to drag it in between. With ortho turned on, you can drag it along a line segment. I'm going to repeat that command, and I'm going to fillet those like so. And I'm going to also do these in the same manner. I'm right clicking, and I have those filleted. Okay. Now, fillet has a first cousin, and let me get this interior edge also here. And that first cousin is chamfer, but let me fillet these edges here because I want to get a nice transition between these two also. Transition that nicely. That's nicely filleted, like so. Those are nice edges. Now, fillet has a first cousin. The alternative to a fillet is what we call a chamfer. Okay, and let's go over here so you can see the difference between the two. That edge is filleted. This time we're going to use chamfer. Okay, I'm going to use our chamfer command. Curve edit tools. Okay, so if you go curve, fillet curves, fillet corners, chamfer curves, connect curves. So all of your curve tools can be located here. Okay, now let's go to chamfer, and let's go to our distances, right? And here we have our N right here. Our first chamfer distance, we're going to go over here, like so. Our second chamfer distance will be right here. So we'll type in 0.027. So they have the same chamfer distance. First curve the chamfer, this one. Second curve the chamfer, that one. You notice that you get a hard edge between the two, like that. Okay, and it has a 0.027 chamfer there. So let's go back in here. And we will come to these corners right here, and we're going to chamfer each one of these corners. So we can right click, and we're going to change the distance to 0.027. And this is the first curve we want to chamfer, and that's the second curve we want to chamfer. And so we get that nice transition there, right? And here we're going to do the same thing here. Okay, and that has a nice chamfer. Do the same thing here. And I'm right clicking to repeat my command. I'm going to actually chamfer these also. So one nice hard edge on the bottom there. And I'm going to chamfer these two edges right there. And I'm going to leave that one alone on the interior. So now all my profile edges are filleted and chamfered, okay? So now we're ready to put it all together. So now we can select this curve. We can type in revolve. And we're going to start, use our point snap to start our revolve axis here, revolve axis there, 0, 360. And now when we go to our perspective window, all of our edges and our solids have been either filleted or chamfered, okay? And as you can see, all of those details are derived from that work, the filleting and chamfering that we did on the profile curve. And so I'm going to stop this right here, because what we're going to do now is that now we're going to move into doing some solid operations, and we're going to add some details. We're going to use some techniques to add some details to our flashlight, and I'm going to show you some ways that you can actually cut into the form of the flashlight. So we're going to stop that right here.